Hey, so with it being the end of the year now, I thought this was the perfect opportunity for me to discuss what games I played in 2024 and what games I would recommend for you to try out if you ever get the chance. Also, by the end of the video, I want to discuss my 2025 most hyped games. But before that, I want to start with 2024. Another Crab's Treasure. At first, when I was playing this game, I thought it was going to be just a simple child version of Dark Souls, but it becomes more deeper the more you get with it, and I like the overall way you equip different shells as your weapons, and I like the grappling hook ability that you have and the parkouring around, as well as the boss battles. I thought were really fun, and the game has a surprising level of depth in terms of its world and overall story, and I would highly recommend for you to try this game out if you haven't already. Rolling Hills, Make Sushi, Make Friends is a fun and cozy sushi crafting restaurant serving game that made by I believe two brothers, and it's a very fun game in terms of you building up your restaurant, typical restaurant building type gameplay. But it offers some interesting friendship mechanics, kind of I would say maybe like Animal Crossing. I don't know, I haven't played the game, but I overall really like the friendship building mechanics in Rolling Hills, and I think that the overall game is just fun and cozy, and I'd highly recommend for you to try it out. Dragon's Dogma 2 is probably what I would consider my game of the year, in that it offers an extremely immersive experience with you exploring this world and seeing all these different monsters and being able to climb on them and battling them, and then doing long treks between your destinations, where in which you have to deal with all kinds of hazards and different kind of monsters. It's basically the Lord of the Rings simulator, and I'd highly recommend for you to try it out because there's nothing really like this in the gaming market, at least right now. I mean, even Elden Ring, for example, is not really that innovative in its gameplay, with you maybe just doing the simple attacking the enemies feet or whatever type of gameplay. Whereas Dragon's Dogma 2 allows you to hop on creatures, stab them or whatever, and even hop on the backs of griffins. I think I mentioned a bunch of times beforehand, and they can fly you all around the map. I haven't seen any game that really allows you to have this kind of cinematic experience while just doing simple gameplay, right? And also the quests in the game I felt were really fun and amazing, such as the Sphinx quest. And overall, I just have to say, if you haven't played Dragon's Dogma 2, I would highly recommend for you to try it out, especially now that a lot of the performance issues were dealt with. Alright, so Black Myth Wukong, everyone's talked about it, so I'm not going to talk about it too much, but I really do love the game in terms of its combat and cinematic feeling in its boss fights and the boss rush kind of mode it is. And I just love the cinematics and the artistic value of them in between each level, as I feel that highlighted how important this game was to Chinese culture and Chinese mythology, right? As it highlights something that we haven't really seen that much in games in terms of the Wukong mythology, and I just overall really love the game, and I feel it's probably one of the best games of this year. And while I'm not going to talk about the Game Awards or whatever, right? I do think it was maybe a tad bit snubbed by Astrobot, but that's just my personal opinion on it. I do think Astrobot deserved probably the win for its fun nature, but besides that, overall, I just really liked Black Myth Wukong, and I would highly recommend for you to try it out if you haven't even somehow tried it out yet. Frostpunk 2 is a very interesting game in my opinion because it's not iterative like most sequels are, and it's basically just an upscaled version of the first Frostpunk, in that while you're dealing with hundreds in the first game, you're dealing with thousands in the second game. And with this upped scale, you see a difference in the gameplay, which I really appreciate in terms of them not just making another Frostpunk game essentially. And instead, it's basically a City Skylines type with a lot of political intrigue. And overall, I just have to say, I highly recommend for you to try the game out if you haven't already somehow. But the game offers a very interesting storyline, and it's just very compelling in terms of how you're building up the city and dealing with the issues that it brings along the way. All right, so I know Black Ops 6 is in a lot of hot water with a lot of issues in terms of AI as well as glitches and other like mishaps in the game right now. But in regards to like the campaign and zombies, I have to say the game was like very like fun in that way, and it was like surprisingly one of the best CODs we've had in like probably like the last like 5-ish years, I would say. Overall, like while the game is like rubbish now, I still like think it deserves like a spot on this list, as I played like a lot of the campaign and zombies, and overall I enjoyed my experience with that. Stalker 2 was basically my Fallout experience for 2024, as it gave me what Fallout was like not giving me right now this year, in terms of like being an immersive game about you exploring like a wasteland kind of scenario. And while you don't really have like that much of an interesting story, at least in my opinion, I do think like the general sense of gameplay in terms of like the immersion factors and realism of the game really helps like give you like a sense of like being in the wasteland of the Chernobyl exclusion zone. And I just overall like recommend the game on that alone. And while the game currently has some bugs in it, right, I do think those will get fixed eventually down the line, and you will have a great game with like a great experience, especially when like A Life is like fully rendered into the game. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is kind of a surprise for this year in terms of how high it is on my Game of the Year list of 2024, as the game offers a very intriguing experience in terms of it not being like the Uncharted or Tomb Raider games, but rather sticking out on its own, as it's resembling more of the Indiana Jones movies rather than just like another adventure game or whatever, right? And I just really love the game in terms of its puzzle solving mechanics, as well as its general like gameplay with like how you like are punching enemies and having like a nice snap to it, as well as with the whip having a nice snap to it. And I just highly recommend for you to try the game out if you enjoy puzzle games, or sort of like immersive sim type games like Dishonored. Like overall, this game is a highly recommendation for me, and that's basically it for my 2024 list. What are you guys' like choices for this year in terms of your best games? I'd love to hear that in the comments below if you have like your own choices. Now, in regards to 2025, my most like anticipated games of that year would probably be Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Avowed, Outer Worlds 2, and I hope it's GTA 6 for 2025. I'm really looking forward to those games, but I really think that like two of them might get delays in terms of like the Outer Worlds 2 and GTA 6. But yeah, those are like my 2025 games. I don't have like too many games I would say I'm like hyped for yet in terms of like not having enough gameplay for them. But of those four games, they have like shown, at least like for the most part, besides like GTA 6, they've shown like their gameplay, and so I'm excited for them. I feel like I know how they're gonna work. So overall, I just really hope that they shine when they come out of that year. Alright, so I think that should be it for this video. If you liked what you heard and want to hear more from me, please give this a like and subscribe. And comment down below your thoughts on the 2024 games, as well as what games you're excited for 2025. And I think that should be it. So talk to you guys later then. Bye.